welcome to another exciting edition of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy, and today we're going to go out to the public market, which is a flea market we have here, and it's the last one of the year. Now, I haven't shown very many fine videos just because there haven't been all that many sales or anything with everything going on, but it's kind of interesting. We've got two different flea markets around here. We have one down in Avon, which is a drive-in movie theater, and it's outdoors, all on grass, and a lot of older stuff down there, but it's a nice cold day. There aren't going to be a lot of people set up. It's been raining lately. The place turns into a marsh, so you don't end up going down there unless it's a nice sunny day, and it's late enough in the season there's not going to be too many dealers. It's also about a 40-minute ride from the house, so it's a little too far to go just on the IFCOM. So we're going to go down to the public market, which have not had very much success at this year. It's a lot more of the newer stuff and that sort of thing, but it's only 3.5 miles from home. It's a nice way to spend a Sunday morning. You run down there. Even if it's raining, it's okay because it's protected area. I mean, the wind and the rain can still come in, but at least it's got an overhang for everybody to put their things under. And the really nice thing about it is the last one of the year, which is today, anybody who has set up gets to set up for free today. So there's going to be a lot of dealers down there. Now, 2 years ago, went down there and absolutely cleaned up. People were just giving stuff away. Had somebody there that had comic books, had a box like this of comic books. I picked up the box and started looking through it, and threw about 15 books. And I said, "How much are the books?" And she actually came over and pushed the lid down on the box and said, "I want to make it such a good deal for you. You don't waste either of our times by looking through it. And give me $20. And a box like that of comic books, and they were 2015, 2014 comics. I said, "Okay, done deal." Got home and there's some pretty good stuff in there for that price. Last year, people were not giving stuff away. I came home with very, very little, which kind of disappointed me because this is the last big buy at flea markets and all that for the year. So don't know what today's going to bring. Hopefully I come back not empty-handed on the back end of this over here. So wish me luck and we'll be out of here. Alrighty, so now we're back from the flea market. There actually were a lot more people set up than I anticipated there being. They were spaced out a lot more than usual, but they did use all three pavilions, a few people under each pavilion, which was kind of interesting. One thing that generally happens at the flea market is the same people tend to stay inside the same spot, which only makes sense because that way, week after week, where they're going to be. People were in different spots than they usually were, which is really, really interesting, unless some people said they'd be coming and they just didn't show up type deal, which could be as well. We did get there a little after 8. It opens at 8. Of course, people are there beforehand. And there were still people setting up at 8 o'clock, hadn't even emptied their car. They just had their table set up and were grabbing boxes to start putting out. A little tip, if you do go to flea markets, if you see somebody just starting to set up and you see 5 or 6 people over helping them set up, get over there real fast and start grabbing the boxes out of the truck for them as well, because that's usually some new dealer that's got some new stock and people are just grabbing everything they can and getting good deals off of them. So if I see almost like you're feeding birds to the pigeons, if I see people all around there, I run over as well because you never know what they might have because it's new stock and it's good stock. As to what we were able to get, for the most part, disappointing, which is kind of what I expected. I did pick up, a couple of these over here. Nothing too special. Some kids' book. This one actually sells, believe it or not a lot, $8-10, something rather like that. But I paid 75 cents for it. But it does sell fairly quickly, and it's in fairly nice shape. Zippy the Chimp on that there. Did pick up this book over here, The Fugitive. Not from the TV show, unfortunately. John Galsworthy. The only reason I picked it up is 1913, published 1913, and a little thing for people to collect the books. It's got there it is, the colophon is what they call that. Tells you it's a first print from Charles Scribner, so it's just something you pick up throughout the time. Don't know what it's worth. I mean, he is a known author and all that sort of thing, John Galsworthy. first printable play of his, I would guess it's probably $15, something or other like that. Picked it up for 50 cents, so no big deal. Couple of magazines over here, nothing too special there at all. Columbine, and then over here, O.J. Simpson Trial of the Century. Can't believe that's 20-some years old now. But people do buy the O.J. Simpson stuff from time to time. Judge Ito and all that. It's kind of anybody our age knows everything about that trial. And then there was actually one deal. The gentleman had these. Awfully heavy. Harper's Weekly, which actually you don't see as often as you think that you would. You see the older ones, but you don't see these from the early 1900s. But it's got a nice little Statue of Liberty cover on it. Oh, another Statue of Liberty cover on it. Apparently, Statue of Liberty covers were all the rage back then. Another Statue of Liberty. Another Statue of Liberty. Just tons of covers. Apparently, that was their thing, because every single cover basically has a Statue of Liberty. There's one that doesn't. The guy had 40 of them, and he was asking $85 on it, something like that. And he's had things up before, Saturday Evening Post and Life magazines, both of which are tough to sell. But he had these up over there, and I started looking at them, and they're actually very, very clean. I mean, the condition on them is super clean. If you take a look at them, they're very, very clean, to the point that I was actually looking at them saying, are these real? Just because they're so clean. But he's got enough different issues and all that sort of thing. I mean, the end of the football season in there. Just a lot of neat things. And he said $70 takes it all. And I said, how do I go wrong at that price? I mean, 40 of them, I'm paying under $2 a piece on them. And you just don't know what might be in here. Cleveland and Roosevelt, interesting historical cartoon by Thomas Nast. So, I mean, you've got a lot of really nice things in here. And the secret to selling these will be to go through them and find the best art, like that one right there that had the football on it. Or the Thomas Nast, Georgia Cyclone. I don't know the first thing about the Georgia Cyclone, but I'm going to know about it shortly. And you list that up there, and people will end up buying stuff like that. This one over here looks like a funeral of some kind or something. I don't know. We'll figure out exactly what that is. But you got to go through these, and that's the problem, is these are not quick lists. They're going to take a while to list. Coal strikes, just various things like that. Oh, there was the death of Pope Leo, must be, because the last public appearance of Pope Leo the 18th, etc., etc. So you got to go through these piece by piece, take multiple pictures on them, but be able to list them for, $20 a piece, and I paid $2 a piece on them, and they will sell. And, January 31st, February 7th, January 3rd, February 21st, February 14th. So it basically looks like probably close to a year-long run on them. So that's a nice thing that you'll be able to sell. But here's the key. When I was buying them, the gentleman asked me, do you want my card? I said, certainly. Do you want mine? And I gave him my card, and he said, oh, great. And we talked for 15 minutes about the various things that I buy, because he's a dealer, and he sets up. And obviously his prices are reasonable there if I'm paying $1.50, $2 a piece on those magazines, which you just don't see very often. And he said, oh, I've got a lot of other magazines. I've got those. I've got some other titles. And I said, yeah, definitely give me a call. Definitely give me a call. And that's why we've done the video in the past where we said you definitely have to have a business card. And you definitely do. That way you can pass it out. And hopefully this gentleman will give me a call sometime in the off season. And if for some reason he doesn't, he was setting up all year long at the market. Next year, come April, when the season starts again, I definitely will seek him out and kind of talk to him a little bit, and then maybe have him bring stuff for the following week, that sort of thing. But basically, I believe, or hopefully, I found another source, and he'd be happy moving the stuff because he sold those to me at under $2 a piece, and he made his money out of them. Probably did a clean out or something like that, so he was happy. I'll take the time. I'll go through them all one by one, list them all individually, and I'll make my money out of them, and I'll be happy. And they'll all go to better homes, which is really, really good. Somebody will take that football one and frame that up if they want, or do whatever they're going to do with it. So it's a win-win situation. But that's why you definitely need to have the business card. just in order to make those kind of connections. And hopefully that works out. And so all in all, because of that one purchase, it wound up being a pretty good day. If it weren't for that person, I'd be sitting here saying I wasn't able to find much of anything, and the video would have been 5 minutes shorter, and you'd be looking at O.J. Simpson for the balance. So just to let you know, one other quick thing about the OJ, they do sell. And one of the big problems that a lot of us have is we look at something like that and we say, oh, I remember the trial. I remember the white Bronco. I remember. And we think, who else is going to possibly want it? Well, there are people that do collect that kind of thing. And a lot of times in the collectibles side of things, we think it has to be old to be valuable. We're looking at, 1920s, 1930s, 1900s, 1800s. Oh, that's valuable. And Mr. Magazine points it out all the time, and he's absolutely correct in it. The year 2000 was 20 years ago. You're getting back, 1980, you're talking about things that are 40 years old. Now, I started going to the flea market with my father, probably 1978, something rather like that. 40 years old at that point was 1938, which seemed like forever and ever ago. But I'm sure there were dealers that were setting up, the old timers that were setting up in the 70s that are looking at stuff from the 30s going, why does people want that new stuff? Because they remembered it, and they probably only liked the stuff from the late 1800s. So if people are buying the O.J. Simpson stuff or are buying various things like that, don't make the mistake of passing it by. Take a chance on things like that. You might be surprised. It actually, although it may not be more valuable than you think, it may actually sell. And it's probably better to sell a couple of O.J. Simpson magazines and get some money out of it than it is to buy something Hopalong Cassidy that you sit on forever because nobody cares about Hopalong Cassidy any longer. So it's a hard habit to break because a lot of us have grown up in the time where Hopalong Cassidy or Buck Rogers or any of that sort of stuff was valuable. And so we still feel that way. Realize the newer generation, O.J. Simpson, Pokemon, Garbage Pail Kids, all that sort of thing, that's what's valuable to them. To my generation, the stuff we grew up with, Transformers, Star Wars, He-Man, that stuff's hitting its value as well. But the stuff back in the 50s that, that the generation before grew up with, not that many people are collecting that stuff anymore, and a lot of that stuff has lost its value. So stay one step ahead of the curve. Pick up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Pick up the Nintendo stuff, the Sonic, the Super Mario Brothers, even the O.J. Simpson stuff. And you'll actually be surprised about how you're able to sell that stuff because it's not collectible as far as we're concerned, but it's collectible as far as the buyers are concerned, and they're the ones with the money, and the customer's always right. So we'll see you next video.